Greetings, JC here for Interface, and we're continuing our series called Stereo 101, where we talk about the components in a home hi-fi system. This week, we're talking about compact discs. The compact disc was introduced in 1983, and it turned the audio world on its ear. It was the first time that many consumers were actually able to hear digital audio in the home. In 1983, when the compact disc was introduced, it could hold up to 650 megabytes of digital information. To put that in perspective, keep in mind that in 1983, a home PC would usually have a 10 megabyte, that's with an M, hard drive, and those hard drives cost anywhere between $700 and $1,000. So the idea of having a little 5-inch disc that could hold 650 megabytes of information is mind-blowing when you look at the state of digital technology in 1983. Here's a picture of the very first CD player offered by Sony in 1983. It's the CDP-101. The unit cost several $100s, and it gave basic playback functions. The playback functions of CD players actually haven't changed that much through the years. Here is one of the original Philips CD players from around 1983. This unit cost somewhere around $600. The first CD recorders started to appear around 1990. They were extremely expensive machines costing in the thousands, and only professionals in professional audio environments could afford to use them. However, by the late 90s, the cost of a CD recorder had dropped to the point where the average audio enthusiast could buy one and record his own CDs at home. Modern CD recorders are very advanced and offer features like a second CD player for dubbing from one disc to the next, and of course you can plug audio inputs in to record on CDR. However, there are some restrictions to a CD recorder. First of all, you must use a audio CDR. A standard data CDR will not work in these machines, and it's a one-shot per deal. This is a worm device. WORM stands for Write Once, Read Many, which means if you make a mistake while recording, you have no choice but to throw the disc away, put another in the machine, and start over. Standalone CD recorders are still available. However, in many situations, they've been supplanted by computer-based CD writing technology, where you use a drive in the computer to write the CD only after the audio has been prepared on the hard drive. This cuts down on the number of coasters you make and also allows you to use almost any format of CDR to make an audio CD that can be played back in almost any machine. If you're a music fan who's into high-quality audio, chances are you've amassed a large collection of CDs through the years. I have CDs going back to 1983. The compact disc has become the benchmark for audio quality. You'll hear devices described as offering CD quality audio or near CD quality audio. Let's take a look at the numbers and talk about what CD quality audio is. The original CDs introduced in 1983 are known as Red Book CDs. Red Book CDs are still being produced today. It is the most basic form of the compact disc. And every CD player or CD drive that wants to carry the logo Compact Disc Digital Audio this video opened up with has to be able to play a Red Book CD. It is the most basic standard. Through the years, as the format has evolved, each mutation has generated another book with a different color cover. There are now Yellow Book and Orange Book CDs. We're going to talk about the most basic, the audio CD, the Red Book CD. The audio format itself uses raw PCM to record audio. PCM stands for Pulse Code Modulation, which is a way of capturing audio waveforms as numbers and storing them as such, and those numbers can be used to reconstruct the original waveform in a audio synthesizer in a CD player. The sampling rate is 44,100 samples per second, which means that the audio recorder in a PCM encoder is actually taking a snapshot of the waveform as it comes in. Basically, the only information that's gathered in each individual sample is the exact amplitude, plus or minus 0, of the waveform. The 44.1 16-bit standard that CDs uses a 16-bit word per sample to express steps in the range of amplitude from 0 to plus full range and negative full range. There are 65,536 steps available in each sample, which means that the PCM recorder has to decide exactly which step per sample the input amplitude fits into. This is called quantizing, and it's the most important step in recording digital audio. The CD standard has two channels, a right and a left, which are recorded interleaved. If you looked at the actual code for PCM, you would see that the very first channel to be recorded in order is the left, and then the right. It records left, right, left, right, left, right, sample, sample, sample. When the CD is played back, these two channels are separated in the data simply by splitting up the original code into the left and right information. The data rate for PCM 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz audio is around 10 megabytes per minute, which is huge when you think about an MP3 being somewhere around 1 megabyte per minute. The MP3, of course, is a way of reducing the data required to store PCM information, but that's for another video. So what exactly do you get from this pulse code modulation? Well, the frequency response is 22,050 hertz. That is right around the threshold of the upper limit of human hearing. Most people can hear up to around 20,000 or so, and after that it rolls off. The dynamic range available is 96 dB from the lowest sound that can be recorded to the loudest. Channel separation is 100 dB or more. Of course, this is a theoretical number because the actual audio amplifiers and circuitry in your CD player may be a little less. Usually they run somewhere around 75 dB of absolute separation. The signal-to-noise ratio, 100 dB. The way data is stored on CDs and later on DVDs as well is quite ingenious. If you were to take a CD and look at it under an electron microscope, this is what you would see. What you're looking at is a spiral track of pits and lands. It starts from the center of the disc and works its way out to the edge. The distance between the pits and the lands determines exactly what digital bit is triggered when. It is the transition between a pit and a land that the laser actually reads, and it represents one bit of information. DVDs use the same system, except that it's a much more compressed track, and they also have multi-layers of information on a DVD. A CD is a single layer and can store anywhere up to 800 megabytes of digital information. The playing time of a compact disc depends on exactly what format was used when the CD was mastered. In 1983, two formats were available for mastering, the 63-minute format and the longer play 74-minute format. The bulk of audio CDs released in the 1980s were recorded in the 63-minute format. During the early 1990s, the 63-minute format was supplanted by the 74-minute, and the 74-minute format during the 1990s was actually pushed out to around 80 minutes. This was done by just slightly reducing the rotational speed of the disc and placing the tracks closer together. Most recordable CDRs that you can buy today are in the 80-minute format, and the 63 and original 74-minute format CDRs have fallen by the wayside. So how long will your compact discs last? If it's a pressed CD, one that comes from a factory, this means that the disc has a physical impression of the pits and lands that make up the digital audio. They are expected to last 120 years if handled and stored properly. A CDR, on the other hand, should last somewhere around 30 years, as a CDR, which is a home recorded CD or one recorded in a CD drive, will actually fade away over time because it uses a photographic material. CDRWs have a tendency to fade away much quicker, and the longest you can expect a CDRW to last and be readable is about 10 years. I have heard some people say that their CDRWs have faded away in less than 2 years, but I have CDRWs that are now 5 years old and still are quite readable. CD players have evolved quite a bit through the years. During the 1990s, the trend moved toward CD changers in the home. These CD changers could play anywhere from 3 to 400 discs at a time. This Sony 5-disc changer is a good example. Modern high-end CD players offer impeccable audio quality and excellent trackability. Many of them can also play the CD derivatives like the Super Audio CD and the DVD-A format. These discs offer high definition, high bit rate, and high sampling rate audio in multiple channels. The audio quality of modern high-end CD players tends to be very consistent from model to model and brand to brand. There are a couple of things to keep in mind, though. First of all, make sure that the one you get has at least 4 times oversampling. The oversampling rates on modern CD players are anywhere from 4 to 16. The higher the better. This will mean less noise in the output of the digital to analog converter that is used to create the analog audio that goes to your amplifier. Another thing to keep in mind when looking at used CD players is the fact that the lasers in compact disc players tend to lose power with use. A CD player that's played a lot of CDs may have a laser that's not putting out as much power as it should, and it might have a hard time playing some CDs. Older CD players from the 80s may have difficulty playing modern CDR recordings. These machines were never designed with CDRs in mind, and although technically it is supposed to be able to play a CDR, it may not be able to do it because the laser itself just simply doesn't have enough power to extract the data from the disc. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the compact disc player as we continue our series Stereo 101. Next week, we'll take a look at cassette decks. For Interface, I'm JC.